All right. I am Josh.
I am Banks. Odd places.
Going viral.
Josh,
Rock on.
what, what, what is the purpose of people in a democracy?
The purpose of people in democracy?
In a democracy, yeah.
To uphold it. For that's the only way that democracy works, if we all agree that it must work.
So you're talking about the faith. We have to have the faith in the democracy for it to work.
We have to have the faith, but also the backbone. We need people to stand up for democracy when democracy needs to be protected, because democracy by itself is very fragile. It doesn't work without people willing to support it.
And when you mean support it, what do you mean?
Follow the rules. Follow the rules of democracy.
Right. So our democracy, our Constitution, Bill of Rights, amendments, those are all our rules, correct? Those are the rules
Yes.
that we have to deal with. Now, as people, as citizens of a democracy, we have to play by the rules, yes, and we have to make sure the rules are played. Everybody plays by the rules, correct?
Correct. Because institutions cannot uphold democracy. You can put a system in place, but unless the people operating the system also believe in democracy, also uphold it, it doesn't work.
And you're talking about upholding it means what? What do the citizens do? They have to make sure that their elected officials stay within the realm of the law of the rules. The law is really the rules, correct?
Correct.
So okay. So and then the systems are groups of people that we elect or we appoint, and they are part of a system. And in our democracy, we have basically three branches: the legislative, Congress, senators, House of Representatives. We have the executive branch, the president, and everything that goes along with the president,
Cabinet.
and then also judicial, which is the judges. Now, are the people then responsible for all three branches of it?
Yes, because what is a system if there's not people to run it? Everything hinges on people. Everything.
Okay, so the whole concept here is that people run the whole thing, staying within the rules of which are the laws of the democracy. Now, then, if the people do not support or have faith in the democracy, if they decide, you know what, I'm not going to vote. You know what, I don't really care. You know what, it doesn't matter to me anymore. You know what, I'm going to leave the country. I don't want to be this kind of a citizen anymore, or a citizen. And when that happens, the apathy happens, then the foundation, which by the way, it sounds like the foundation of democracy are the people.
Yes, absolutely. So you're correct. When the apathy happens, but also when the whining happens, when people don't like the results of democracy and they whine about it and they try and subvert it, that's also a killer of democracy.
Okay, let's take whining. Let's take whining first. Okay, whine. You ever whine?
Probably. I've got plenty of cheese, so sometimes I have to whine to balance it out, you know?
We all whine. We all whine. You know, something doesn't go our way, our team doesn't win, we whine about it. Well, it was the ref's fault. You know, we throw excuses out at
all right. But we get over it eventually. It's when we don't get over it. It's when when we manifest whining into other things, physical, mental, and we start losing faith in our systems because of the whining and the misinformation that comes from it.
Okay, so give me a certain amount of time. How much time do you have to whine after your football team loses? How long do you get to whine about it?
In my ideal world, you get about 19.3 seconds.
And then you got to get it out of your system and okay,
Gotta
we
work.
lost, go move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So why in the atmosphere that we're in now, in the state of mind that we're in the post-election place that we're in now, why is it taking so long for that 19.3 seconds is basically up, correct? Unless you want to equate
Oh,
that to
by far,
okay.
absolutely.
So why are we in that? Why are we still in the whining stages? Why is there whining going on then? I mean, in your group, in your frame of mind. Now, this is probably the longest whining that has ever happened in our country, correct?
For an election, I believe so. It probably is. Here's the problem, I think.
Go
It's
ahead.
the emphatics. I'm going to call them the emphatics. I'm not trying to make this religious. I'm not
Mhm.
going to call them evangelicals, but the emphatics are a minority. That's the problem. Emphatics, people that have such extremists, I'll say extremists, people with such extreme views are in a minority in this country, and they cannot gain power through a democracy. You can't, when you're a minority, you cannot gain power in a democracy. So what do? You subvert the election, you whine about it, you try and make gerrymandering rules, you try and suppress the vote. You do all these things to gain power and to keep it.
Okay.
That's where the whining's coming from.
Aren't those rules part of our democracy, though? Gerrymandering happens.
Sure.
Suppressing the vote happens. I mean, that's in the rules, in the laws that we create. I mean, whatever the laws they create in Georgia or Arizona or Florida or wherever, they get, Texas, Pennsylvania, wherever, they
Sure.
get to decide what those rules are.
Correct. And sometimes because those are anti-democratic rules.
Right.
And they
Right.
get
And that,
overturned, they get changed, and that's fine. And that's part of our system. I'm okay with that.
okay. Okay. Because I mean, you just said gerrymandering, and that's happened until it gets to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court makes a decision on it and goes, okay, this is, you got to do something else. This is undemocratic.
Right.
So you're saying that the minority is
Angry.
angry, and okay. Well, hang on a minute. Like 4 years ago, maybe a month. 4 years ago in a month. Wait, what's today? Today's the 8th. Yeah, 4 years ago in a month. There was already the transfer of power happening. There was already the whining had stopped.
Well, because the
Concessions.
minority won. Because the minority won in 2016. You
Okay,
realize that, right?
I get your point. In general, people who voted. Got it.
The
Yeah.
minority won legally and fine, and I'm okay with that. The minority won. This time, the majority won, and the minority's having a really hard time with it.
Okay. Do you? I'm going to throw this out at you. Do you feel that I play the rules and I can play the tax rules, I can play the gerrymandering rules, I can play every rule in the book in this country, and there's finally a rule where you can't play. I mean, you can't change this rule. And the rule is people voted, people made a decision. The foundation of democracy has said, hey, this is what we want. And you, how can you argue that? Because the foundation of democracy are the people.
Correct. And the word for arguing against the will of the people inside a democracy is called whining. That's what I mean by whining, because you don't have a legal, moral, ethical, or any otherwise kind of argument. It's just pure whining. It's exasperation, it's anger, it's all these emotions they can't control because they're emotionally unintelligent. Their EQ of, and when I say they, I don't mean just Trump supporters. I'm talking about extremists, people that have extreme views. They typically don't have the emotional intelligence to control their feelings, and they just want what they want, and everyone else be damned. This is where we are, and they're loud, and that's why it's such a ruckus. They're loud. There's a lot of energy there for such a
Okay.
small group. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they are loud. And in a democracy, you can be loud. You can argue, you can
Sure.
yell, you can
Yeah.
whine. I mean, that's part of, freedom of speech. You have the right to do that. To take that to a level of, I mean, and at the moment, since the end of the election, November 3rd, till now, people, the harm, the physical harm has been minimal, if that, correct? This has only been words.
It's kind of. I mean, there's been death threats. There's people that staked outside the Michigan State Secretary of State's home, her home. They're armed pro-Trump protesters.
Okay, okay.
There have
In a
been some incidents
democracy, okay, in a democracy, they have a right to do that, correct? Protest? Yes?
to go outside someone's home and with guns and yell and scream at them. I don't believe so. I don't think that's legal. I'm not sure,
Okay, okay. I mean,
but
okay, let's,
maybe.
for argument's sake, let's say that that is protesting.
Okay.
Okay? That's protesting. I granted, death threats is serious. That's serious stuff. No one has gone to arms that we know of, correct?
In a large sense, in a mass sense, no.
Banks,
I'm Josh.
odd places, going
Going viral.
viral.